I was standing outside the driver's side window of a pickup truck where I realized the man who was in the driver's seat was having a stroke. We were in the parking lot at a local community center, and the man had driven his grandson to come scrimmage on this outdoor hockey rink along with my son, and we were both sitting in our cars. I was working, and this grandfather was watching his grandson play. I knew the man, Doyle, because we had had many conversations in the past. But on this day, I'd been ignoring him, trying to focus on my work, while he was sitting there with this affectionate, loving presence, just watching his grandson play on the rink. I had been writing a book that I was hoping was going to launch my speaking career, and I was writing about a principle. The principle I was writing about was how important it is to be present for other people, because that's how you make a difference in their lives, just with your simple presence. And it wasn't lost on me over the few hours we were sitting there how much I was focused on trying to get this chapter written, while the grandfather was actually demonstrating this principle the way he was just attending to his grandson, just watching him play. So finally, when I couldn't bear the hypocrisy of me being self-absorbed over here while his grandfather sat alone in his car, I finally got out to go over and talk to Doyle, the grandfather. But when I got there and tapped on the window to get his attention, he didn't respond. He was just staring straight ahead at the rink. So finally, I tapped on the glass and got his attention and got him to roll down the window, and we started talking. I said, "How are you? How's it going?" And he has this southern drawl, so often it's hard for me to decipher what he's saying because his accent is so thick. But I realized as we started to talk, his accent wasn't the only barrier on that day to me understanding him. His concepts and words were garbled and slurred, and I started to get a little concerned, and I asked him to roll the window down the rest of the way, and realized that his left arm wasn't really functioning. He finally had to use his right arm to roll down the window the rest of the way, and that's when I realized that he was having a stroke. I had my phone with me. I called 911 right away, and as it so happened, there was an ambulance stationed at a soccer game that was happening right across the park. They came right over, and Doyle, who they put in the ambulance, confirmed, yes, he was having a stroke, took him to the emergency room, and Doyle was in the emergency room within 10 minutes of having that stroke. But the end of this story, he wound up living many years after that, and his daughter, the mother of my friend's son, every time I saw her after that, she would go on and on and on about how I saved her dad's life. But that never sat right with me, because the end of this story is not, I'm a hero because I discovered this man was in the middle of a stroke, and I called 911. The end of the story is something else. It's that this man, Doyle, who I had watched over the years attend to his grandson with this nurturing, loving presence without distracting himself or busying himself, he created a mood around him that literally made it impossible for me to not be tuned to those same values. It was Doyle himself who caused me to leave my vehicle and connect with him. And in that way, Doyle saved his own life. And so I don't tell this story because I want other people to know, oh, I saved this man's life. I tell the story because every time I tell the story, I connect to Doyle's memory, and he saves a little bit of mine.